I love Western animation. I grew up on it. From Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra to Young Justice and DC animated movies, they shaped how I saw animation. So before anyone lumps this into another Hollywood bad anime good video, this isn't one of those. This isn't about how Hollywood supposedly hates anime and doesn't want animation to succeed. It's about understanding why anime has managed to dominate the 2D animation scene globally. And not just in popularity, but cultural impact. While Western 2D animation, as much as I love it, has struggled to maintain relevance as a whole outside a few titles. It was never even alive in the way anime was. And when I say Western animation, I'm not talking about 3D blockbusters like Spider-Verse, Arcane, and Disney movies, or sitcoms and cartoons, but realistic 2D animation for teenagers and young adults, like Invincible, Young Justice, Legend of Korra, Vox Machina, Dragon Prince, Masters of the Universe, Blood of Zeus, Creature Commandos, and the Mortal Kombat series. Yeah, there's a lot more than you think, but I'm talking about those specifically, kind of like the Western version of anime, or shonen specific. So there are several reasons why anime is so successful, but from my observation, the biggest reason is that anime has a community, a large one, and having a community means word of mouth and appreciation for the culture. Because anime has this loyal community, it means that people watch every season of anime they like. They get into manga when they weren't into manga before. They cosplay, they debate power scaling, make crossover edits, and all that stuff. Meanwhile, Western animation has a fragmented audience, whereas in anime, there's a network that guarantees people will check out the next new anime. Nothing guarantees just because you like Invincible, you're gonna watch Blood of Zeus. And that's fair, considering that they're different genres, but that doesn't stop anime watchers, and that's why very few animes actually flop. Meanwhile, it's a freaking gamble to make a Western animated show or movie that isn't based off an existing IP. And let me just mention that anime already had a solid, sustaining foundation in Japan before going global. But I just wanted to highlight the sheer obsession some anime fans, especially outside Japan, have with anime. They learn Japanese, are insistent on freaking manga panels being adapted. Some actually get mad when that one unimportant manga panel wasn't adapted properly. Fast reviewing, review bombing, insisting on watching sub makes you a real anime fan, which is pretentious, I'm sorry. But the point is, they take it that seriously, and that behavior is pretty much normal in the anime community. It's actually a good thing. And the next reason is the difference in storytelling and creativity. This answers why anime has the shared community that it does. Anime's ability to amplify emotion needs to be studied. The music, the freaking eyes, the close-ups, the exaggerated performances, this sets anime apart from Western animation and is common in almost all anime. And it really makes you feel something. But in Western animation, the more emotional scenes tend to be just there compared to anime. Not bad, but they don't really stick. Of course, this is just my subjective opinion, but anime could make even the simplest emotional scenes feel like cinematic masterpieces. And then there's just the overall creativity. Stuff like Sakuga, creative and expressive art styles. Very rarely do animes look like they share the same exact art style, but you could pick a couple Western animated shows that look similar, and that's not exactly a bad thing. But Western animation just doesn't have that range. Even CG, merging 2D and 3D in Western animation is usually hit or miss, even for the big budget projects. But anime can blend 2D and CG seamlessly, like in Demon Slayer and Chainsaw Man. But in Western animation, we get stuff like What If and My Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And I'm not gonna pretend like this doesn't look unnatural. And look at Batman Ninja, Japanese production with Western IP, still way less jarring than these. And of course, there's the sheer creativity of the shows themselves. Stuff like Attack on Titan, Fullmetal Alchemist, and Death Note have clever or outside the box premises. And as far as shonen is concerned, there's a lot of emphasis on power systems, which have led to some pretty creative and impressive power systems. Western animation usually doesn't have so much layering in its fights and stuff. It's just who's stronger than who. And there's also how deep anime can get, that it has some people rethinking life. And there's also how dark and violent it gets. Like the top most popular animes right now are R-rated. So essentially, there's just a crazy amount of creativity poured into anime that's not usually seen in Western animation. Okay, except for Avatar. Like, I'm not even saying Western animation isn't emotional or creative. It's just so separated by genre that it depends on what you like. And there's also the industry structure of both of them. Like, Hollywood rarely releases 2D animated movies in theaters anymore. It's all 3D. And there will always be people in the general audience who won't watch animation, even the mature ones. The studios are still at fault for not even trying. Meanwhile, anime movies, yeah. And of course, Demon Slayer is Demon Slayer, but the amount of money anime movies are making in general is increasing. Like, who'd have thought the first Chainsaw Man movie would make over 100 million? And then there's JJK and One Piece. And these are all relatively recent releases. And that just makes me so mad at DC Animation for not releasing its films in theaters, especially its more recent ones. Except for the Tomorrowverse, they can keep that, I'm sorry. And yeah, they might not make as much as anime movies at first, but I'm pretty sure they'll make significantly more than what they're making now. And there's also this thing I noticed in some Western animated shows where it's like they weren't sure if they wanted to make it for kids or for adults. Like in Young Justice World, while the first 2 seasons were dark, they were relatively kid friendly, but season 3 and 4 were very adult. Maybe that was them growing with their audience or something. But then there's also Dragon Prince and arguably Legend of Korra. And then there's the role of genre freedom. And anime spans everything from horror to romance to sports to action to cooking. It has everything live action and even popularizes it. While Western animation, at least the ones I'm talking about, really does anything that isn't action. And that just makes it less flexible. Your only other options are sitcoms or kids shows. Anime normalizes genres like slice of life or romance for older audiences. Meanwhile, I can't find a single Western animated show purely about romance or sports. I feel like they can expand to that. Maybe just a simple adult drama that doesn't have insane sci-fi or supernatural effects. Because like in the top 10 highest grossing anime movies, there are romance and slice of life movies. So it's not like the audience for that is non-existent. And because of how connected anime and its community are, that allows for people who watch mainly shonen to check out other genres. Like I see anime fans, especially guys, they're like, oh, I'm just catching up on this new romance anime, and you can be sure those guys have never watched live action romance a day in their lives. Like my second favorite anime is Death Note, for instance, and I mainly watch shonen. So there's apparently a lot of things people enjoy in shonen that are also in other genres in anime. Western animation is nowhere close to that, unfortunately. At the end of the day, this isn't about taking sides and bashing Western animation or Hollywood. Like I see a lot of people claiming Hollywood execs keep disrespecting anime, which is freaking absurd, or comparing Demon Slayer to live action movies, and I like the way they use Demon Slayer as some sort of representative for anime, as if Demon Slayer doesn't have a large appeal outside the anime community. I might as well say action fantasy is winning. My point is, it would be cool to see Western 2D animation get the same love that anime does, because 2D animation in general deserves love, regardless of where it's from. And rather than bashing Hollywood, I think it's better to tell them to learn from anime and apply that to their own 2D animation.